We are coming to you live from Costa FM in Pretoria West in Westview, Danville. My name is Costa Ramokgopa. Welcome to the Costa Ramokgopa live show. That's coming to you every Monday, Tuesday, and we're coming to you happy on Friday. As you know that we're coming to give you the robust topics, man, every single day of the week. Today, you know, it's our political discussion Monday, and I'm with again in the studio with Mr. Costa Ramokgopa, the chairperson of what 60. Kosiak, how's it?
I'm good, and you, Jose?
Are you right? We are back, my brother, again.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, today we are talking, as you know, our political discussion Monday. Fandaga Rebuaka, the remarks that the president said ko Mbombela when he was speaking to the people there celebration at January 8th. As you know, the number is 064-548-776. You want to be part of us? You want to join the conversation? Please send me the WhatsApp on that number, and then we will read your WhatsApp out. Voice notes are welcome. Very much welcome, and this will be on a podcast later tonight, and that podcast will go Anchor FM and Spotify. You just go and search the Costa Ramokgopa live show and you'll get us there, coming to you live in the Costa FM studios right here in Westview, Pretoria West in Denver. ANC, just to give a context a little bit, ANC held its January 8th birthday. As you know, it's the 112th birthday of the ANC. It had its birthday Kombombela this past weekend, and the president said some remarks about the grants and then people who are receiving grants and what's going to happen if the ANC voted out of power. So many people have spoken against that. Why is he threatening us? There's a lot of videos out there, more YouTube, a lot of videos out there, more Spotify, more TikTok, where people, this other lady, the video is long. I'm gonna play just the audio thing. You would tears. How can a whole president threaten their children about their future? So to unpack and analyze all this, I want to, that's why I beat the chairperson of ANC, what 60, to come to the studio today to come and talk to us about this. Okay, that way, did we now take the president out of context again? As nowadays it's like when we talk to them again, they say no, it was out of context. I never said that. So Mr. Rmaphosa, dumela khosarna risiame.
Good evening to you, Jose, and the listeners.
How are you?
Thank you for having us.
Why? As always. Yeah. Yeah. As I said, we are coming to you live from Pretoria West in Danville. The number is 064-548-776. You want to be part of this show, please do so. And then remember, like I said, later on today on Spotify, you're going to find this audio podcast, LED voice. Then the video podcast, you'll find it tomorrow on YouTube. Same channel here, the Costa Ramokgopa live show. You can get us there, and then we talk about this thing. All right, Mr. Ramokgopa, straight to the point. President Ramaphosa was Mpumalanga, right, over the weekend.
Yes.
And you guys were having a celebration around 112.
Yes.
Yeah, the birth of the ANC, which is a very good big milestone, the oldest liberation movement we ever had in this country, is in Africa. Sorry, yes, which we in Africa, which we commend, we commend and we clap our hands for, and we support. I support the ANC as well. I've been even for the ANC ever since I started voting. I always say to people, people hacking that critical, but I'm not an ANC member. I don't know how do we judge and how do we really put ANC membership in this whole thing. But anyway, that's people talking again. So President Ramaphosa, in his remarks, he said something to the effect of saying, if the ANC is voted out of power, there's a possibility or there's a likelihood the grants, the social grants, it's about 350 can be taken away from South Africans because you don't know the incumbent. I don't know if the incumbent government. So I want us to unpack that, because many people are very upset about that, what the president said, because they say he's threatening people and now he's blackmailing people into voting for the ANC. And there's a lot of analysis about Professor Duvenhage that he says ANC has managed to create a dependent welfare state and their own guaranteed voters, in a sense. People baba 50 million, for example, or 10-20 million into grants, that makes 20 million people depend on a system. And obviously, if the system says go right, they'll go right. Go left, they'll go left. Hence, he can be able to say it out. That no fear. Yes, vele. If you don't vote for us anymore, maybe Not saying it will, but maybe your grants will go away. What's your take on that?
Oh, thank you very much for that remarks, Khosi. But let's start where you are saying Professor Duvenach said, we have created a nanny state. I would term it that way. We haven't done so. In fact, when you speak from a place of privilege, it's easy that you can even express issues that are complex in the simplest manner, in the way Duvenach has done.
Privilege in what way?
Let me give you an example. He's talking about the social grants.
Yeah.
If you look at the people that are beneficiaries of the social grants, those are the people who are needy, who need these social grants.
Yes.
Not for the fun of it.
All right.
These are the elderly people who have been denied or deprived of the right to go to school.
Yeah.
They do not have education. As a result, it's very difficult to employ them, meaning they are unemployable.
Okay.
So you have got to come up with intervention measures whereby you make sure that the livelihood is taken care of.
Yes.
So in that way, you are not creating a nanny state. You are just intervening in the situation that needs intervention.
All right.
So the other one is the people who are disabled. Those people, they need interventions in the form of social grants that we are providing to them. So you are not creating any nanny state. And here in South Africa, we have got a scourge of fatherless children.
Yeah.
Those children cannot go hungry simply because Duvenach, who doesn't know poverty, is to tell us that we're creating a nanny state.
Yeah.
We are merely intervening in the situation that needs our own intervention.
Okay.
So now, what he's saying, in fact, is nonsensical and it comes from a place of privilege. It's somebody who doesn't know anything about poverty. He reads it in the book. Some of us have lived under conditions that are so dire that we needed social grants ourselves.
All right.
That's why the ANC intervened in that fashion.
Yeah. In a sense, high class affair that he says, it's a matter of now, he can just simply blackmail those people to tell them, listen, like he said, let's maybe unpack what he said. What do you think the president really meant when he says if the ANC is voted out, it's the likelihood, obviously he won't say this will happen, the likelihood the social grants are gonna go, and then like as you said, you have millions of people depending on that for survival. All the people, young people with fatherless children, and the 358 million COVID, right? Which I'm going to have to question that as well. Is it really necessary for us to be giving young people money to stay at home and we hope that they will go look for a job or make use of it in any other way beneficial for them? But then when in your own words, Rmaphosa, how you vote me out, likely of you losing all the benefits that you get from me as the state, South Africa, you are gonna lose them. How do you explain that to an elderly woman who's 70 years old, deep or somewhere in the villages, who does not have analysis as us in Gauteng or anywhere else in our young minds? How do you analyze that one?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. You see, there is nothing untoward which was said by the president in his own speech. In fact, I like the fact that he did not speak in absolute terms or conclusive terms. Yeah. He just said there is that possibility. And he can back his own statement by the facts that are already happening in this country.
But is there?
Can I proceed so that you can understand as I unpack?
Yeah.
So he can back his own facts, his own statement by facts that are happening in this country.
Yes.
There are so many gains that we have made or strides that we have made since we took over in 1994. But since we have lost metro municipalities in this country, some of the gains have been reversed. I can give you an example in the context of a city of Tshwane.
Yes.
I have mentioned the other day that we used to have Tshwane Wi-Fi, where we were providing the needy students with access to Wi-Fi and the internet, which is very important and central to them doing their schoolwork.
Yeah.
So what then happened? Somebody took over here in the city of Tshwane and decided to reverse that gain. So President Rmaphosa is justified to say there is that possibility because we already can see
Yeah.
through the example that I'm giving.
Yes.
I have spoken about the indigent policy that was existing in this city of Tshwane,
Yes.
whereby we were subsidizing the poor in terms of the literage that we were giving to them and the units from the electricity that they were buying.
Yeah.
So somebody took over here. Under the DA, those things have been reversed. We used to have people who are getting small contracts here to do what? Grass cutting and
littering and whatnot.
tree felling and all of that.
Yeah.
They were doing all those things, but somebody took over and then reversed those things. So President Ramaphosa is justified to say there is a possibility. He's not saying it's going to happen. But given the fact that there are people who are militating against what we are trying to do in terms of transforming this society, he is justified to say there is that possibility. And I can go on. These political parties I'm talking about, the DA in particular, is against the BEE.
Yeah.
BEE is aimed at ensuring that our economic structures are actually transformed.
Yeah.
In the sense that we are going to have black people infused in the managerial positions, and they are going to be catered for in terms of supply chain contracts and all of that.
Yeah.
But the DA is against that. Meaning, if should DA take over, there's a possibility that they can reverse those gains.
Yeah.
So President Ramaphosa, in that context, he was not saying something that is far-fetched, because we can already touch and feel those things. They're happening now.
Yeah. So, but do you think, let's say, for example, devil's advocate playing, let's say MK ya winner, MK ya supporter wins, ne? Or let's say the EFF for that matter. We know bona they stand gore ba mapanyaza vaya baka win elections, which is stupid to say, by the way. Now let's talk about, let's say, one of them, because DA will never win these elections. That, like, in real sense, my opinion, DA will never win South Africa as like in like 2/3 majority. That's impossible. So now let's say MK does make a dent, or let's say EFF by some chance it does as well. Do you really think the two parties, much as they're from the ANC and they're pro-black, do you really think that they will really reverse that to say, okay, fine, listen, now in Rmaphosa we can't do this, blah blah blah, because the ANC policy, right? Do you really think they can go that far?
Khosi, I like the fact that you are saying we must stick to reality.
Yeah.
The reality is that the DA will never win outright.
Yes.
However, the DA, having understood that they do not have that support to win outright majority, they are busy forming the so-called moonshot pact.
If it's
no, it's there. It's operational.
Is it?
They are busy meeting.
Yeah.
They are discussing out the modalities of how they are going to be governing this country.
Yeah.
In other words, they are seeing the possibility that they can become government under coalition government.
Okay.
So I don't want to even dwell on this Mickey Mouse party that has been formed now, the MK that you are referring to. That one won't even garner 5% of the votes of the of South Africa.
How sure are you?
They are not appealing. They are not appealing. We're on the ground. We know what is happening. So the least I say anything about EFF, the better. You know why I'm saying that?
Yeah.
It was under the DA EFF coalition that all those gains that I have referred to were reversed.
Yeah.
Remember, the DA did not win seat of Tshwane.
I know.
Who assisted them to become the leaders of this administration?
The red
It was the EFF. We cannot trust them, and we cannot trust them, and we are going to appeal to our own people.
Yeah.
They should not trust these people because they've already betrayed the aspirations of our own people.
Okay.
We can see that. We are giving an example that exists. So I'm not making up stories here. So I'm not going to talk about MK and the EFF. I will talk about the DA because through its own moonshot pact, including, by the way, being supported by the EFF, which has already demonstrated to us that they can do that.
Yeah.
They can take this government, and once they are there, they are bully.
Okay.
Their own coalition partners have indicated to us that these people are bullies.
But they're still there with them. What is the use?
They're in the battle. We don't know. Maybe they're giving some other things. You know, when you engage in a clandestine project,
yes,
you do not disclose everything in totality.
Yeah.
In fact, you just come with snippets trying to threaten your own bigger partner in coalition so that they can accommodate you and appease you by creating certain things for you. That is what is happening with these people who are in bed with the DA. Yes. But all I can tell you, President Ramaphosa is quite justified. Nothing untoward that he has said, because we have already seen what these people are capable of.
Yeah. But then don't you think maybe somebody from the ruling party, maybe another president himself, can just come out and explain, say, guys, I didn't mean it in that context. Like I asked you earlier, what about the old women? But they don't have our analysis, obviously. The old gogos who are in the villages deep there, who just know because of ANC. And what about Born? No, I didn't mean it's gonna happen. You understand? Because many people take it for overlays. That means I'm gonna play a little a voice note and like you can a voice note now. When it came to the ears of these people, understand? And then let's take it more ruthless. Okay, well, how can you be able to spin it in a way? Try to say no. It was not meant like, because hey, it's like the grants. So how come why can't maybe somebody else can be able to get out and say, listen, this is what the president actually meant. He didn't mean it in that context. Costa, we understand the possibility because you've seen what one has done. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Politics or state power is a contested terrain.
Yeah.
We contest state power.
Yes.
And whatever we use in order to campaign,
yes,
cannot. We are not there to massage the opposition, because we will be decampaigning ourselves to go and always explain ourselves on the things that we have said in clear terms.
No, not the opposition, Costa.
But all I can tell you is that we do not have that responsibility to explain, because the people we are referring to, in fact, are the loyal voters of the African National Congress, because they know our own historic fact of where we come from as the country. They know a lot of things has been done by the ANC, and they are not even ready to leave the ANC. They will continuously vote for the ANC. In fact, the people that are lamenting the statement of the president is not even those voters. It's these people that we have created, the middle strata.
Yeah.
And those people are the epitome of the efficacy of our own policies. The surge of middle strata in this country has been created by the policies of the African National Congress. But today, because they can go to Twitter and say things, knit together some phrases to demonize the African National Congress, we need to take them seriously. In fact, they are the ones who must be reminded that you are our product. What you should be doing is to assist this ANC-led government to ensure that the economic benefits are trickling down to the poorest of the poor. But they are folding their arms. All they do is to blame and blame and blame. Yet they are product of NFSAS themselves. They didn't have a cent, majority of them.
All right. I'm going to play one little voice note. Give video clip, man. I'm not going to put it on the screen. It's going to be audio for everybody listening, even if you're going to be watching more Twitter. I'm going to play it, and then we can analyze that from there. This is a young lady, more Twitter, more TikTok, sorry. She just made a video, and then she's analyzing what Rmaphosa said. Let's take a listen.
At this point, the ANC is grasping at straws, like it's holding on for dear life. So our ever-loving cupcake of a president, who's also a billionaire, by the way, Cyril Ramaphosa, was speaking in Mbombela on Monday, where the party held a cake-cutting ceremony to celebrate the 112th birthday. First things first, right? On a birthday celebration, we're already having heavy discussions. We should be singing happy birthday to you. At this birthday celebration, Cyril said, if the ANC fails to attain the majority vote, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme and the social grants may be scrapped. Scrapped, he said. So Cyril Cupcake Ramaphosa is claiming that if they don't win this next election, we are in risk as a country of losing the social grants and the NFSAS, right? So SASSA and NFSAS will be gone if they don't win. the elections. At this point, Cyril is using financial abuse to manipulate the country for votes. At this point, he is emotionally blackmailing people and financially blackmailing people to manipulate people to vote for the ANC. Cyril is starting to feel like that partner that you want to leave, and he's like, if you leave me, I'm not going to pay child support, by the way. Now, he said this strategically knowing that 27 to 28 million with an M, of South Africans rely on the social grant to survive. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's 47% of individuals living in South Africa that rely on this grant. And he said this knowing that if he says this one statement, he has 47% votes. Because motherfuckers are scared to lose their fucking livelihood, bitch. Now, in regards to the NFSAS, 87,000 students, let's think about this. 87,000 students are at risk of losing their funding this year. And this number could go up to 121,000, my dear, in 2025. Losing funding. Over 25,000 student fees were not paid last year. So they cannot register this year for the new academic year because their fees were not paid. 157,000 students still have not received their allowance from last year. I don't like making political videos because I don't want to trigger anyone because a lot of people have different beliefs on this app. But don't let the ANC manipulate you. Like, if you want to genuinely vote for the ANC, then you vote for the ANC. But don't let that be a decision because you're thinking about, will I survive? Yes, you will survive. You will survive. Cyril, this is a very low blow. This is very distasteful. So now we're resorting to financial abuse.
All right. Okay. What's your take?
Thank you very much for playing that clip. It is unfortunate that the clip was actually accompanied with insult which were unnecessary.
Yes. And I want to apologize for the fuck thing and whatnot.
Exposes the shallowness of the person that was speaking here. But nevertheless, she makes me proud on one thing. Her own Model C accent, in fact, tells me that the African National Congress has done something.
Come on, is that really?
Yes. I must express myself. She makes me proud.
Let's not do that. Let's play the ball, not the man.
No, I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming. Her own Model C accent makes me proud.
Yeah.
It tells me that the African National Congress has done something differently from the apartheid government.
Yes.
Which did not allow our own people to access schools that could have actually given her that accent.
Yeah.
So, but as for manipulation, it's not manipulation.
Yes.
It's her own interpretation. She has got a right to express her own interpretation to the nation.
Yes.
I've got a different view, and I've already articulated that in detail.
Yes.
The president was not manipulating. The president has got facts to back his own statement.
Yeah.
And I have indicated those things. Unless she comes into this studio and dispute or rebut what I have just given as an example of why the president would say something like that.
Yeah.
So all I can say is that she's just an angry young woman who benefited from policies of the ANC, but she's ungrateful as a South African citizen. Perhaps it's because of the ignorance of not knowing where we come from as the country.
All right.
Maybe it would be better if the elders around her can just lecture her through where we come from.
Yeah. But the president had to say that. Did he really have to say that?
Yes, the
like that one statement, did he really have to say that?
Yes, if I were him, I would have even gone further
by
talk
saying
about BEE.
Yes.
Because some other political parties which are likely to take power do not want it.
Why is it likely to take power?
No,
are you not confident the ANC will win outright majority?
No, the ANC will win, definitely.
Okay.
But we cannot shy away from the fact that elsewhere, like in the city of Tshwane, Jozi and Ekurhuleni, they managed to actually put together their own coalition and govern. So, but all I can say is that President Ramaphosa, it was a necessity, in fact, to state that. You know why? Maybe let me take you through the history of January 8th statement.
Yeah.
In the January 8th statement, the African National Congress celebrated the past achievements of its own government.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
And they then chart a way forward.
Yeah.
And then they outline the tasks that are lying ahead in the year that we are going to start.
It's the same as State of the Nation address?
It's not the same.
Okay.
There they give you a high level of the achievement. They take stock of where we come from and then what the future will look like and then what are the tasks that must accompany what needs to happen.
All right.
As envisaged in this January 8th statement. So it is in that context that he has mentioned our own achievements, and then he further said, these strides we have made since we took over are at a risk of being reversed by those who might become an incumbent. Expressing the possibility. That's why I said in my initial remarks, I said he didn't speak in absolute terms, nor did he speak in conclusive terms. He just said there is this possibility, and I backed up that with the facts. So it was necessary for him to say that.
But don't you think maybe they will be improved upon? Like 350 now, if I was in government and I'll come in government myself, I'll never give these kids 350 by few. I'll rather take that. ArcelorMittal now is leaving apparently soon. I don't know if you've heard about that.
I know about that.
Yeah, it's leaving. The only company in South Africa that takes iron ore and make it into steel. It's leaving. Meaning we're gonna end up gold. Take the gold out, refine it, and bring it back to the high price again. Don't you think maybe that money could have been negotiated with, for example, with that company? We have a lot of companies, factories here, that have closed down. I think maybe Nestle only works there alone. I'm not sure. Lona for sure because COVID hit it hard. He is got here. There's a lot of factories which actually closed. Roslyn, there's factories there as well. Don't you think maybe it could have been more productive in a way, even though it won't absorb everybody at the same time, as one comrade alluded to me today? Don't you think maybe instead of spending billions a month for 12 months for giving 350 out to all these people, don't you think it was going to be better to take that money and revive one of the factories, or give ArcelorMittal and tell, listen, we are giving you this money, but you're going to hire young people this much number? Don't you think maybe it was going to be, now if government, I will look into that. Don't you think maybe that could be a doable method?
Okay. I love that question because it comes more often. It seems as if people have actually the same thinking around this issue. But what they forget is that the idea of giving out 350 comes at the back of COVID-19 pandemic. It was not conceived as a measure that needed to actually relieve ourselves from poverty. It came as an agent intervention. Remember at the time we introduced this thing. We had this curfews where people were no longer even working just to make a living. So you needed to come up with another intervention to ensure that you mitigate against the hunger that might actually ravage our own people. So in fact, what we are saying, everybody would think is going to work for us, but not within the context of COVID-19.
But COVID is over, must say.
COVID is over, but you must gradually think about another alternative. As we are trying to recover from COVID, we need to leave this thing because we have not lifted our majority of people out of poverty as yet. Because many jobs were shared during COVID. And many people could no longer even work for themselves out there because the opportunities were no longer there. So you have got to gradually phase it out. As you are trying to recover from the economy, leave it there, and then you try to create other alternative means of making sure that the livelihood of your own people are taken care of. I can tell you now, if you were to take 350 from the majority of the people now, I can tell you, you may even plunge this country into social unrest.
Is it because what Waiti?
It's not because they are used to it. It's because the conditions under which they live are not bearable in terms of economic means of making sure that they survive. So it is their survival now. So you have got to keep it there. Never be reckless. Gradually phase it out as you are trying to create other jobs for themselves. Roll out many programs, like for instance, industrialization. I don't know if you were listening to the speech of the president.
Yes.
He was talking about the natural resources that we are having in this country, so that we can beneficiate. And out of that, there will be jobs created and many other infrastructure rollout programs. We have got to embark on those ones so that we can be able to create jobs. So you would remember that even during COVID, infrastructure rollout program had been halted. Simply because the conditions were not conducive for one to continue in that fashion. So we are careful as the ANC government simply because we care about our own people. We are not actually coming up with knee-jerk decisions or solutions to the complex problems. We think them out thoroughly and become empathetic and sympathetic and compassionate to the plight of our own people.
All right.
Yes.
It's fine. We are still live on Costa FM. The number is 064-548-776. I meet the firebrand. Must I call you firebrand?
I don't know. I won't prescribe to you what you call me.
My very good friend, ANC Chairperson for Ward 60, Mr. Costa Ramokgopa. We are debating the state of the, not the state of the nation, man. The remarks of the president that was said to Bombela over the weekend, especially about the grant. The grant, if it's with the ANC, if it comes below whatever percentage, the grants might be gone. So we are just trying to unpack that because many South Africans, hey, it came, you don't vote for us, you are going to starve. I'm going to play another video, a voice note, a voice clip. This time, as someone at this time, I can work a young lady.
Yes.
Not work a me.
Right.
Hence, when it comes to the ears of people, understand, and Rona will analyze it. We can. Understand? But when it comes to an elderly person or a young person who still has that little thing, we would no, maybe he meant this and that. So I'm going to play this one other clip. It's a bit longer than 6 minutes. Address at the president about this, what he just said now. So let's take a lesson, ladies and gentlemen, and we can analyze that as well. And speaking of the other part is coming that I'm going to talk about achievements of the ANC. There's another person who analyzed his statement again, the president, the achievement of that achievement. So this person is saying he shouldn't be proud of that because actually a disgrace, not an achievement. But I'm going to play this one now. Let's just take a listen.
Good morning, beautiful South Africans. I thought I was not going to respond to the president. President Cyril Ramaphosa is threatening our children that if ANC loses, NFSAS and SASA might be scrapped. Really, President, I never thought that you can stoop so low. Low, President, really, President. So, people must vote for the ANC so that the ANC can let the children keep SASA and NFSAS. Our Mr. President, really? Why is re vote ANC? Because you failed. It failed us long time ago. What you want is just for you to keep your position. If ANC goes and Prasa was still here, SAA was still here, Dinel and load shedding was not here and everything, we were going to be okay. God gave us hands to work. We just need logistics. You took all the logistics for us that can help us to survive in this world. You took everything from us. Now the last thing, which is the future of our children, you threatening us to vote for you to keep your position, that you will also destroy our children's future. Mr. President, I'm very disappointed in you. Very disappointed. You know, Mr. President, Now you start behaving like the representative of God on earth. In other words, indirectly, you are asking the South Africans to worship the ANC. Listen to yourself. Go back to your video. Listen to what you're saying. Apologize where it's possible. But I don't think there's anybody who's going to accept your apology. Mr. President, you have done a lot of things. We've been keeping quiet. But you can't threaten us. You can't. ANC is not heaven. And you are not the representative of God on earth. Here we're talking about the government. The government that's supposed to give service delivery to all South Africans irrespective of black, color, gender, or anything. So now we need to worship you. Worship the ANC before you can service this country. Really, Mr. President, I'm sorry, I'm not being rude. Can you get a dictionary or get somebody? Let that person explain to you the meaning of president in his own country. You took the coal and gave it to Germany so that we can stay in darkness. You took everything from us. During COVID, the last thing that we didn't get from you or ANC that does not being serviced by you is life, Mr. President. You dug graves for the South Africans. 1 million graves. You dig 1 million graves for South Africans. And we still here. We still keep you as the president. Now, you see that we've been too quiet, or maybe you think we are stupid. Now you're threatening our children. From my side, I would like to apologize to all the South African children about what the president said. And it hit us hard as parents, because it's like we failed our children, whereby we expose them to this kind of presidency, whereby they need to gravel for everything that they want or for everything that they need for their education. Mr. President, we don't like the situation where we are in. Please do not abuse this nation. You are emotionally abusing us and our children. You know, Mr. President, this whole situation in the country shows you that this nation of South Africa is the nation of God. They forgave you on everything that you have done. But this one, this is the future of our children. That is our money. I'm a taxpayer. That is my money. That is every South African's money. That is every business in South Africa's money. That is.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Quite a mouthful. What is your comment?
What is the meaning of quite a mouthful?
No, cannot the way of think all that she said resonates with a lot of people. It might resonate with a lot of people, and it might be felt as if it's a cry of every elder person in our country. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I've listened to Mama. You see, everybody, like I've said, in this country, by the way, the constitutional infrastructure that allows everybody to express themselves. It is our creation, by the way, because that had always been our intention to ensure that every South African has got a right to voice their own opinion.
Okay.
So this thing is going to be taken as such, as an opinion. It will remain as an opinion.
Can it be followed?
However, she has expressed herself. I was quiet. I want to proceed as well.
All right.
Yeah. So, however, you know, I'm perplexed by how these people construct their own plea.
Okay.
They seem to be even undermining the intelligence of the young people of South Africa. They seem
In what way?
They seem to believe that the young people of South Africa, by merely listening to a president saying that there is a possibility of losing NFSAS, should you vote the ANC out, and therefore they are going to vote for the ANC automatically.
But we just heard for a young person earlier.
The youth, that young person has said nothing, absolutely nothing. It was nonsensical. Whatever
Don't you
she was
think
saying.
a lot of young people think like her?
No. If she thinks like herself, then we haven't done our work as parents. We need to educate them to understand these things.
Yeah, can you just mention young people?
All I'm saying is that young people of this country, they still vote for other political parties, knowing very well that the African National Congress is leading this government and is the one that is actually dishing out all these things that the president has mentioned.
Yeah.
But they are voting for your EFF. If you can look at institutions of higher learning,
they are all
young people are voting for the EFF. And therefore, to even suggest that these people, after hearing the president, now are going to be threatened really is far-fetched. And it would need you to be somebody who's not analytic.
They're not talking about those who vote for the ANC.
No. But why should they be demonized for voting for the ANC?
Yeah.
They chose the African National Congress not because the ANC gives them something.
Yeah.
Similarly, those who are voting for opposition parties are voting for the opposition parties not because they have been given something. They just chose to vote for that. There is this thing in South Africa, when you vote for ANC, you are looked at as somebody that is rather lost and all of that. You are stupid. We are thinkers and we've got our own reasons. That's why some of them, we even call them to debates. They cannot even state the facts. I can tell you, I've had many debates with these people who are saying the African National Congress is abusing the people of South Africa, has done nothing since 1994. But they produce zilch in terms of the proof of what they are saying. So you see, people like to jump into the bandwagon of a narrative that is prevailing in society without thoroughly analyzing it. They are very uncritical in their own approach of ensuring that they understand what is going on in this country. I can tell you, my brother, in this country, we have got social political forces that are militating against the African National Congress. Some is genuine concerns. Some, they are disingenuous. Some, they were part of the structures of colonialism and apartheid. And they led us to where we are. When we took over this government, we took over with close to nothing in the state coffers. Because on the eve of democracy, those who were responsible for apartheid, they made sure that they dry our own coffers. We started this government with large loans that we needed to repay. So we had to reconstruct this country. And they knew very well that over time, people are going to forget that we found a state that it was close to bankrupt, which had nothing, and we had to reconstruct it. And therefore they will say, now it's been 15 years, it's been 20 years, the African National Congress can no longer blame so and so. When they know that the damage that they had caused during their own reign was too... it was a very big damage. So we needed many years to reconstruct this country. We do not want to say the ANC had been perfect. The ANC had been infiltrated over time by people who do not have the interests of the people at heart. That's why the African National Congress deals with corruption within its own rank, both within its own ranks and also in government. But it's not going to be an event. It's a process because those people are in majority. There is this narrative that is pushed by the media. Who owns this media? These are the beneficiaries of colonialism and apartheid. And they create narratives that seeks to say the African National Congress, since it took over, it did not do anything. And the ANC, when you look at it, is the face of corruption. Yet they know very well that corruption is actually entrenched. Mainly in the private sector. They are the ones who go to the people that we deploy in government, knowing very well that these people are impoverished. They come from poor backgrounds. They go and corrupt them when they need contracts from the state.
But who's they?
And they do not.
Who's they?
The private sector that is running the media. I'm addressing the issue of media and narrative. The public discourse is owned by them, is shaped and directed by them. So if you are not critical enough, like these young kids who have just spoken here, she doesn't know these things because it's very complex for her. She doesn't see that we have got forces of darkness that are anti-transformational agenda the African National Congress wants to pursue in this country. So some of us were not naive enough not to see this. But we acknowledge that within our ranks, we do have people that are counter-revolutionary, both in their own actions and inactions. Their conduct points to that. Yet, we are trying to deal with those issues. But the ANC, since it took over, it did a lot of things. Nobody can dispute that. It is an indisputable fact.
So those are your the achievements. You're gonna go into, right? What are those achievements?
By you. I'm being interviewed by you.
Exactly. I'm just saying we're gonna go into that. I can opposite the achievements so you can say the thing and everything, and then we can go and analyze. But I'm gonna come. I'm going to let's take you 2 seconds, Costa. 2 seconds, if I like 2 seconds in J, because I want to say there's something I want to do, guys. Then we're gonna continue with this until we get with that other video that's going to play. And then we take it from there. Is that fine, Muranaka?
It's fine, no problem.
Just give us a second. We'll be back just after this. Listen, the number is 064 548 7176 if you want to be part of this. 064 548 7176 is Khosi FM, live, coming to you live from Pretoria West in Westview. And the show now is from 7:30 to 9:30. Rebita de Khosi Cyril on a live show. It's a podcast. To Twitter and not Twitter, man. Spotify and Anchor FM later tonight. I'm gonna drop the audio. I think the video which you are shooting now for in the studio will be on YouTube, the same channel like the Khosi live show. So give us a minute. We'll be back. I'm just going to like the kind of go saying the bills. Now just now. All right, and we are back. If it's up at the Koloto or but wait 2 minutes. All right, Mr. Ramokgopa. Okay, so now talking about the achievements. Can you? Before then, you said something earlier, people are saying it's corruption, blah blah blah. It's corruption, ANC corruption. But didn't the president himself admit that in Parliament? Say ANC is accused number 1 in corruption. Don't you think that should have been said? Don't do that. Don't say that.
Okay. You see, the president, like any human being, he is not infallible.
Okay.
He makes mistakes.
Yes.
The manner in which he put that statement was problematic because it would seem that he was saying the ANC is accused number 1.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, he was saying in the public opinion, in the public domain, the ANC is accused, number one. The people of South Africa had been made to believe that
is number
the
one.
African National Congress is the face of corruption.
Do you really believe that's what he meant? Or he actually sold the ANC to the people like that?
No.
We accuse number one.
Accidentally,
he said
he
that.
did actually damage the image of the African National Congress. Admittedly, he did. But he didn't mean that.
Okay.
Remember, that was at the back of a commission of inquiry into state capture. Majority of the people that were called there were either directly or indirectly associated with one or two politicians within the African National Congress. And therefore, as a result, the narrative being pushed by these ones who are militating against us, the ones I've mentioned, the media, will actually happen that particular point to say, but this is an ANC cadre. It's been fingered by Agrees, it's been fingered by so and so, things like that. And that narrative, of course, will gain currency within the public discourse. Because the people for over time, in fact, our people have been bombarded with the corrupt narratives about the African National Congress for many, many years. The intensity is such that you can no longer deny. It's like this thing of saying you put a child in a room where there's nothing and then you go and make them to watch news every day. They will come out knowing that a black person is incompetent and African National Congress is the only corrupt organization in this country. They won't even know that we once had PW Botha in this country. They will never know that we once had FW de Klerk. They will never know that we once had Verwoerd. So, and those are the corrupt people who have actually dried our own state coffers. When we took over, we found it close to zero. And we had to reconstruct this country. And that must be said equally. As we paint the African National Congress corrupt, we need to even talk about this corruption that has happened.
Before.
Well,
people will say, when you always divert to apartheid. That no, apartheid, you blame the apartheid. So it's been said already that whenever you guys are confronted by your own failures, as the ANC, you always say, no, apartheid did this. Anybody. But no, that's their defense. Let's leave it out.
But that is incorrect. It's not even true. I want to state the facts. When we established the Commission of Inquiry into state capture, it was after the acknowledgement that within our own government, we have had people who were entrenching corrupt activities. So meaning we are acknowledging. We do not only acknowledge in words. We go as further as establishing a commission to actually unravel. And investigate thoroughly as to who was actually in the wrong side of the law. So the African National Congress is a honest organization. Other organizations would not have done something like that because it was like shooting yourself in the feet. You get what I'm saying? So the African National Congress had been acknowledging, but the people hate it when we want to state facts about those who came before us. And those are the ones who have caused great damage in this country. I can tell you, my brother, these people have taken land from our own people. Now we are sitting with a problem of making sure that redistribution happens. And it's not happening at the faster rate. And again, it's them who are standing in the way of making sure that this happens. They are using the legal instruments in this country because they've got all the monies to go to a prolonged or protected legal lawsuits. Whereby the state ends up not even having enough money to defend itself in court. So they come around and say, but the African National Congress had been given an opportunity to redistribute land. But they forget that when we come and then we say we want this land, they say, but we want you to buy it at market-related value. And they know very well we do not have that. That's why the so-called willing buyer, willing seller approach. It never worked, but I can tell you, clandestinely, these people had actually anticipated this to happen. And they knew that ultimately it will work to their own benefit because they are going to say the slowness with which we are redistributing land is because of incompetence of a black government.
Yeah.
So these narratives and the plans that are there afoot, trying to make sure that we do not do what we are supposed to do, had been hatched long time ago.
Yeah.
They knew that they wanted to destroy us, and they knew that our own people are uncritical at times.
All right.
They will never see it.
Yeah, talking about the prolonged, the prolonged court battles, courts, whatever. Do you think we have given the judiciary of this country too much power? Because I've always questioned this thing, Ahori. How does a body of judges be able to overturn state policy and be able to overturn state anything? I mean, the ANC can come up with the policies early, right? They implement. DA will take it to court, like you said. It will take forever to resolve, especially the land thing. It's a very thorn in the ANC side forever.
Yes.
Don't you think that it's our fault as the ANC or the Gabel government? We gave these people too much power to be able to overrule even state legislation. I remember in Kenya, when they were debating LGBTQ thing, their parliament in Kenya told them that, listen, judges, even though you are judges, because Supreme Court in Kenya overturned the LGBTQ thing that the parliament set forth, but the parliament forced it to go through because of the majority of votes. Because some NGOs, you know, most of these people, they come from everywhere, they're funded by the US and whatnot. They came and they sued the government for human rights violations.
Right.
And the Supreme Court in Kenya overturned that, what the government said is not going to happen. And they had the whole parliament was in agreement, from opposition parties to the ruling party to everybody else, that this is Kenya.
Yeah.
And you guys are subject to the law. Anyway, you're not above the law. So don't you think we should have the same thing in South Africa? We join and say, listen, it's now time for you for you guys to stop. Always, whenever the ANC put forth a policy ruling, you can be able that like in the court. They love court. They go to court. They know the court will rule in their favor, and then that thing is set back for another years again. Who suffers? The poor person down there.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, Khosi, you see, this is a complex matter. You know, systems are differing. I don't know, you are referring to Kenya, I don't know, but it sounds to me like a parliamentary democracy.
Yes.
Whereby parliament is the supreme institution.
They are still the same as Rona. Kenya.
Are they constitutional democracy?
Yes, they are.
They are constitutional democracy,
Yeah.
meaning they were in breach of their own constitution if they overruled the courts. Because the court would have looked at the constitutional clauses to say, are you in line or in keeping with the constitutional prescripts?
Yes.
So, and if they were found to have been outside of the prescripts of the constitution, the court would have been correct to say, but this thing is not in line with the constitution.
Okay.
The danger of having such overruling, which are unconstitutional, is that you will have a president one day who doesn't have the interests of the people at heart. Yeah. And he will push down the throat of the public the laws that are benefiting him and his friends and girlfriends. Yeah. So you'll have a crisis. So you need to guard against those things. Yeah. So in South Africa, I would agree with you. The constitutional framework is such that we have got the courts that interpret the laws. Yeah. And then the laws are being made by the National Assembly. Yes. Which is the parliament, right? Yeah. And then you have got the executive that are the implementers, which is government. Yes. So all the time, the way you see things being overturned in court is not because they've got a supreme power. It is because we are a constitutional democracy. They are the interpreters of the constitution. Once they find whatever you have legislated or enacted as a law, outside, not in sync with the constitutional prescripts, they will have to rule you out of order. You are not in line with the constitution. Okay. What you need to do if you want to address the issue of land, you have got to do the process that we were calling for now, which is not being done correctly. It is being bungled by the ANC. I will have to blame them. Because we need to change the constitution and be deliberate and absolute in saying once we identify a land and that land is to public interest and we say we want it for this or that. When we say we take it, nobody can stop it. We can determine the value for which we are going to buy it. We are not going to be told that there must be a property valuer who comes and evaluate it and then come to what the so-called market-related value. By the way, those were creations of the apartheid government beneficiaries after they realized that we're taking power.
Yeah.
Back then, they were selling these things by R1 and giving for free to their own family members.
Yes.
But today, they want to the government to pay with exorbitant fund. It's just that I'm not the president. If I were to be the president myself, I'm going to be deliberate and absolute in the constitution so that we can be lawful in our conduct as government.
Yeah.
Now the problem is that the constitutional clause, which is section 25 of the constitution, it doesn't really give the state enough power to redistribute this land, because there is so-called a protection of property rights
clause.
Yeah. So
And why is it there in the first place, if I may ask?
Ours is a negotiated settlement. This democracy, we didn't vanquish these people. We didn't defeat them on the battlefield.
That's a
So
mistake,
it's a bloodless coup.
Was that a mistake, Costa?
For me,
Yeah, for everyone
it-
concerned,
it-
especially
if-
for us as the ANC. Was it a mistake, a mistake that we didn't really take out what is ours? We had to beg and negotiate for it.
no, you see,
Hence this clauses and stuff.
the negotiations were arrived at in a painful manner, my brother, because remember the African National Congress was in exile in the country and all of fighting with Sadaf, the mighty Sadaf, a very powerful military of South Africa, right?
Yes.
We had to seek international solidarity. We needed other countries internationally to support our own struggle. That's why we adopted 4 pillars of the struggle.
Yeah.
Part of that, it was armed struggle, and the other one, mass mobilization, the other one, underground structures, and the other one, international solidarity.
Yeah.
So now, when the Soviet Union collapsed, those were the biggest supporters of the liberation movement.
Okay.
And there is this thing in politics. When you do things, you have got to analyze the balance of forces.
Yeah.
Are they tilted in your favor or against you?
Yes.
Because you do not go into a battle that you can see vividly that you are not going to win it. You have got to employ certain tactics. That's why we have got even a document in the African National Congress, Strategy and Tactics.
Yeah.
Our strategy is one. We want to create a non-racial, non-sexist, prosperous, democratic South Africa.
Yes.
That is the arc objective of a national democratic revolution. However, as we pursue that particular or prosecute the struggle, which has got one strategy which is static, we have got to employ many tactics. We
Yeah.
look at the balance of forces.
Yes.
That's why we define even our relationship with business
Yeah.
as that of cooperation and the struggle. If they do not do what we want to do, we fight with them.
Yeah.
But if they are doing certain things that are advancing our own revolution, we then cooperate with them. So it is a very complex thing. It's not as easy as you may think. Because
Yeah.
had we gone into war with these people,
Yeah.
we might have lost a lot of lives, because our own backing had now shrunk
Okay.
with the collapse of the Soviet Union.
China was not in our side then. All right, the time is just what 22:09. Right on Costa FM, still live, coming to you on www.holdings.co.za/Costa FM/. I'm in the studio with Firebrand. I'm gonna call him that, you Firebrand. Mr. Costa Ramokgopa, he's the chairperson for Ward 60 here in Danville, Westview, and we are talking about a lot of stuff that actually is very, very interesting. I'm talking about what the president said in Mbombela in the past weekend, and we just played 2 clips of 2 people, a young person, how they interpreted what the president said, and an elder mama that you heard the second one. And then we are going to come to the achievements, Mr. Ramokgopa, linking that with the grants, because I'm going to bring you another video that's going to tell you what these are the achievements, and you can't be proud of that.
Yes.
But I want to hear from you,
Yes.
your achievements. How the African Congress, people are saying, this mama said that you failed. You didn't do nothing for us.
Yeah.
The poor little girl then alluded to the same thing almost, right?
Yes.
So now let's come to the achievement of the African National Congress that you say African National Congress has achieved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, even though you can't say all of them, but just is grant achievements?
Because it will depend. Everything is treated on merit, actually. Even ourselves, if we were to define grants as an achievement,
yes,
we will have to substantiate as to why we are saying that.
Okay.
But I can tell you in this country, grants were an achievement.
Of the ANC?
Due to the objective conditions that we were responding to.
Okay.
Our own people, materially, were at the bottom of the pyramid, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Our people were struggling about the simplest of the simple things. I can give you an example of when you went to school. I don't know your age.
I'm 43.
You might remember that you had to pay school fees.
R1, yeah. I think
and there were so many households who did not have the means.
Could not afford that R1.
Who could not afford that. You had to pay your school equipment or materials.
We're given books now. We're given books with pencils and pens, I remember.
And then the other things.
The textbooks were in the library of the school, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but I can tell you, those who came before you,
yeah,
were buying those things.
Yes.
So, and then you have had learners who would actually drop out of the school.
Yeah.
Simply because they could not afford school uniform.
Yeah.
Because the background at home was not good.
Yes.
They were dropping out of school simply because they were hungry. They did not have food. Even if you give them break, when they go home, there is nothing, absolutely nothing.
I'm one of those learners.
Yeah, you had a huge dropout of learners.
Yeah.
When the African National Congress came into power,
yes,
they realized, because they analyzed the objective conditions of our own people, they realized that grants are not something that we're going to use as a campaigning tool.
Yeah.
It is a necessity within the context of South Africa, which is ravaged by poverty, because many people were poverty stricken. And it was not a joke. We had to do that. It is an achievement in the context of South Africa. You wanted to know my take about a social grant.
Yeah.
It was a necessity. And our own elders were not getting grants every month.
Yeah, I remember, yes. My father as well, my mother as well. Yes.
And you would remember that those people were actually carrying families.
Yeah.
They had grandchildren that they need to look after. And the parents of those grandchildren did not even get an opportunity to go to school. They were probably one of the dropouts that I was referring to.
Yes.
So the conditions were too dire that social grants had to be thought of and then implemented as an intervention, a strong intervention. And I can tell you, other people started eating eggs because of the African National Congress.
Eggs.
So you cannot take that for granted.
Yes, yes.
We used to walk to school with somebody,
yes,
with torn trousers.
Yeah.
Torn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Some not even shabbily dressed and not even bathing properly because they did not have the means.
Yes, yes.
We used to have these things. I don't know. They used to live on our own hair.
Yeah.
And they were, what do you call those things? Linta. Yes.
Yeah.
Simply because there were no means to make sure that hygiene is maintained within our own families.
Yeah.
So the African National Congress has had to grapple with many issues that were created by apartheid government.
Yeah.
Others had some hat which were actually falling.
Yeah.
They could actually, during summer, when there is rain, they were actually holding their own hats.
Yeah.
Say, but what is going to happen to us? The hats. So now you had the African National Congress that have diagnosed that there is a need to assist these people because they do not work, they have no money. They intervened through what you call the RDP, low cost housing.
Yes.
That thing I can tell you can take it for granted if you speak from a place of privilege.
Yes. Okay.
But somebody else sees that as something very important because they did not know where to to sleep before the African National Congress intervened in that fashion. So the TAFSA we are talking about, NFSAS, that the president is now accused of
taking away when you lose elections.
Yeah, it is an intervention of the African National Congress.
Some people are calling it a loan. Doesn't matter.
Yes,
you give children loan. Did
you have that loan before? And what was the impact of not having that loan?
Yeah.
We have increased many graduates in the previously disadvantaged households. That is a fact.
Yeah.
It is there. Read Statistics South Africa. It will tell you.
Yeah.
So people, when you give them an arm, they want the whole arm over a finger. You get what I'm saying? But the African National Congress was actually intervening in the strongest possible manner.
Yeah.
And it did change the lives of the many people. The people who are now working as black people managerial positions, this is a creation of the African National Congress through BEE.
Yeah.
They could not have found themselves in those places. We have created the surge of a black middle class in this country. These are the people today who are saying distancing themselves from us. But we take them as people who are our product. We are proud now as the African National Congress because we have created middle class.
Yeah.
And those middle class, my brother, what they do not realize is that should we not have introduced BEE, it was going to be tough. I've worked in the corporate, my brother.
Yeah.
A blackface is not needed in the managerial positions.
I know, yeah.
And even the companies of black people are not given jobs through procurement. I have been there. I fought those things. By the way, I'm a victim of those things. I will tell you offline. Our own people are not grateful enough.
Yeah.
There was this guy who was interviewed to become a competition lawyer.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
That man painted a very sad story. He said he went to private companies because he was the only black. When he went there, they said, no, they do not want to drop the standard of competition law. Where did he get the experience? You would ask yourself, because competition law was introduced recently.
Yeah.
Where did white people get
the
experience?
Yeah.
And he says he went to even black managers.
Yeah.
When he went to them, they said, we don't want to lose our jobs. These people are strict. They are saying in their own database, they want these ones. We are not going to give you. And this man says it in the interview.
Wow.
Where the minister of justice is there,
Yeah.
the opposition parties. I thought this was going to be carried as a story in the media,
Yeah.
so that we can highlight these things that are still happening.
Yes.
Discrimination.
Yeah.
I have spoken about racial profiling in the banking sector, my brother.
Yeah.
Those are the things that are still happening, but we have achieved ensuring that we create the conditions for our own people.
Yeah.
But these own people, middle class, are not assisting us at all. Instead, they demonize us. They even forget where they come from. I can tell you, black business, the government remain the fulcrum around which their own upward social mobility revolve.
Yes.
They cannot grow without government contracts, because in the private sector, they're not being given those things.
Of course.
So these are the facts we need to state to these people, to understand that we remain the central part of their own economic empowerment.
Yes.
And they've got to support us. We call them the motive force in our own strategy and tactic document.
Yeah.
If you can read it, you will find that the African National Congress has got a blueprint to transforming this society. But what happens if you take your own child to school and then you did not build a house, and then when he comes back, he find out that you do not even have anywhere to sleep, and he says, "Mara, di grot man ke bari." Na kweka ufela na irang.
Can they say let's go? Yeah, but
this is what we are faced with.
Yeah. All right. All right. So, like I said, we are gonna play a video, Mr. Ramokgopa. That video will be of somebody debunking the so-called achievements. that the ANC says they've achieved, highlighting mostly the grand thing. As in, like, the president has said, he actually alluded on those achievements during his speech Kombombela as well. So I'm going to play this video. So those who are home listening to us now, we are coming to you live on www.sehongwaneholdings.co.za, and we are recording this video live as well. Peter did not do Facebook live, but I will do it for the next show, so you can be able to watch us live in studio as well. But just go to YouTube later, maybe tomorrow. Just go to YouTube and then search the Costa on a live show, and please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell, so that whenever we drop episodes like this, and every time we drop an episode, you get a notification airing new videos come, even though us no live. Some people will listen to us live, but then they want to watch us later on. Though some could not listen to us because they are maybe busy somewhere in America, but they would like to watch us later or listen to us later. So listening to us later, just go to Spotify and Anchor FM. Anchor FM is an app that's now called Spotify for podcasters. That's where you can get you can get all our audio podcasts. But what I do always is to send a link on my WhatsApp at 064-548-776, where you can just click on that link and you'll get all our podcasts. But probably go to Spotify. How's on Spotify? Click the follow button and click the little bell as well, so that you can be able to know whenever we drop an episode. So we are going to and like I said, we are live now, so you are allowed to question and to send us voice notes and to question Mr. Ramokgopa in the studio as well. How can this be? Blah blah blah. It's not only about me and him, it's about the people as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are going to play this video in the Rmaphosa. The lady, we pizza social, the concerned citizen, So, she speaks about what Rmaphosa said, grants have increased from this to that, and then she debunks the whole thing as in, like, there's not something to be proud of. You can't be proud of saying people instead of saying they've been decreased and created jobs, permanent jobs. Correct. So like I said, let's take a listen on this one as well, and then we will take it from there.
Welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katla. Please subscribe and follow, like and comment, share and repost. #SmartVoters, #Citizen Concerned. This man just praised himself and his party for the increase of poor people in the country.
In 1999, only 2.5 million people had access to social relief. In other words, they got some social assistance from the government. Today, more than 18 million South Africans in our country receive social relief from the government. The SRD grant introduced during COVID, the 350, has increased the number by another 8 to 10 million, meaning that easily 28 million South Africans get assistance from the ANC-led government to deal with poverty. That is one of the great achievements of our government, to help our people to deal with poverty. Amandla.
He wants us as South Africans to praise and applaud him, vote for him and his party, because there are more people who receive charity from the government. President Cyril Ramaphosa wants us to be happy that you and I as taxpayers are funding the lives of other people's children and other people's parents. He wants you and I to be glad that we cannot take care of ourselves, our children and our parents, happy to be receiving handouts from other people's taxes. A sensible president who is on a mission to improve the lives of the citizens should be embarrassed about these statistics. Yet this president wants the citizens of South Africa to be happy that the people who cannot find work, people who cannot feed themselves and their loved ones, have multiplied 11 times. From 2.5 million citizens to 28 million citizens. The population of South Africa in 1999 was 46.6 million people. Since he says 2.5 million people were on social grants back then, it means 5.4% of our people were on social grants. Now we are in 2024 and the population of South Africa is 61 million people. According to President Cyril Ramaphosa, his ANC government is now giving more than 28 million people grants every month. And he's saying it so proudly. He is proud that the number of people without the dignity of independence, without appropriate sources of income, has increased from 5.4% to 45.9% of our population. From 5% of the population being in poverty in 1999 to more than 45% of the population in 2024. If we continue like this, 90% of us will be receiving grants in 20 more years. And the president will be even prouder of himself for those disturbing statistics. This is like a father who is proud of giving pocket money to his adult children. A father who buys groceries for his 30-year-olds instead of getting them work. A father who clothes and feeds his 40-year-old children not because he wants to and has an abundance, but because his children cannot do it for themselves and it is the father's fault. Is this man sick or something? Is this something to be proud of? You want us to elect you because during the ANC government, more people have gone into poverty. What is wrong with you, comrades? People need jobs, not handouts. Is that so difficult to understand? He wants us to be glad that the government is spending 22 billion of our hard-earned taxes on charity, not on building roads or houses or building hospitals or schools. This is money spent on feeding able-bodied, unemployed, sometimes even qualified people. If the ANC stays in power, the number of SASSA beneficiaries is going to increase. So please do the right thing and vote the ANC government out of power in the 2024 elections. Please, please, please. Let me be clear. Mr. Rmaphosa, SASSA grants are not something you need to be proud of. The number of SASSA grants needs to decrease over time, showing that you are empowering people instead of disempowering even more people. An increase in the number of impoverished people in your country is nothing to be proud of. Be ashamed. You can't be proud that we are beggars in this country. Have some sense. President Cyril Ramaphosa also tried to brag about the employment rates of South Africa. Look at this.
When we got into office, there were only 8 million South Africans who were in formal employment. Namhlanje, we have 16.7 million South Africans who are now employed. And this happens because of the management of the economy by the ANC-led government.
What management of the economy? Let's put this clearly. So you, the ANC, got into office in 1994. The population of South Africa was 43 million people at that time. There were 8 million people employed. That means the percentage of people with work at the time was 18.6%. Now, 30 years since then, the number of people employed in South Africa is 16 million people, and our population is 61 million people. The percentage of our people with jobs is 26.2%. So the percentage of our people with jobs has failed to double from 1994 to 2024. Yet from 1999 to 2024, the number of South Africans needing assistance to buy bread has multiplied by more than 10 times. That is from 5.4% in 1999 to 45.9% in 2024. Do you honestly think that that is something to be proud of? South Africa, we can't keep on going like this. It's time to elect someone else, not the ANC, not the EFF, not Patriotic Alliance, for reasons that I've detailed in several videos. We have Action SA, we have ACDP, we have several black parties who have real potential, not these attractive, dodgy parties we keep falling for.
In various areas of in the social sector, from the rise of Kwaito music in the early 90s. I could never dance to Kwaito, but today they are also excelling in Amapiano, and they are trying to teach me to dance to Amapiano. And this is what the young people of our country have really excelled in. And we thank them. We thank them because Amapiano today is the global music system of the whole globe. Uthole nabelungu e-Europe bedansela Amapiano. I'm going to teach the national chairperson to dance to Amapiano as well, as soon as I've learned it myself.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is proud of our young people making Kwaito and Amapiano as if his government is the one that helped the youth or gave them the tools to do it. As if there were no black musicians before or during apartheid. He, in fact, fails to realize that sometimes it's also through this music that social decay is entering our communities. The lyrics of most of these songs have no place in our community if we want to build our communities. The president is also proud of this.
The rollout of comprehensive HIV/AIDS programs, where more than 5.8 million people are on antiretroviral treatment, the biggest in the world.
More than 5.8 million people are receiving HIV treatments. That is not something to be proud of. This is happening more and more among our rural population, where women who have no way out are engaging in risky behavior. South Africa has among the highest HIV infections, and there is a reason for that. From poverty to a lack of morals and a lack of education, just to name a few. And the ANC government is to blame for that. Imagine, more than 7 million of our people are living with HIV right here in South Africa. Instead of being proud of giving more and more people HIV treatments, why don't you invest in the prevention of HIV? Dear Mr. President, in case you're not paying attention, under your party's government, more people have become impoverished in South Africa than have become employed. The percentage of SASSA recipients has now passed the percentage of South Africans who work. People in poverty are having children out of wedlock in order to get your SASSA grants that you are so proud of. They are contracting HIV, and the cycle of poverty, disease, and suffering persists because of you and your comrades. Poverty, poor education, and a lack of options is leading to unwholesome lifestyles and results. And all this chaos is happening because of the ANC. Thank you so much for watching. This is Citizen Concern, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. Please subscribe.
All right. Yeah. What well?
No, I've been looking at you since.
Yeah.
You know, some of us were not shaken so easily.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
What is your opinion about that?
My
She unpacked a
opinion-
lot of things, honestly speaking.
It's quite a lot she has unpacked. And on some of them, I agree with her.
Okay. Like
On
what,
so-
for
on
example?
on some, I disagree with her.
Tell me those you agree with and those you disagree with.
You see, when she does her own arithmetics there, she's not being accurate.
Okay.
The president, for instance, was talking about formal jobs when he
Okay.
spoke about 16 million.
Yeah.
Round about there.
Yeah.
and then she comes, and then she generalizes that.
Yes.
He spoke of formal
jobs.
Not jobs as a whole.
Okay.
Formal jobs. And then she comes and do her own calculations.
Yeah.
And then she compares with 1999 and all of that. And then she doesn't even mention that he said formal jobs. So I don't agree with her on that one. I think we have tried to do our own best.
Yeah.
But where I agree with her,
yes,
is that we should not create a nanny state in this country.
Exactly, yeah.
Or we cannot continue to just dish handouts to our own people.
Yeah.
What we need to be focusing on is to empower our own people to have sustainable livelihood by creating jobs, conducive conditions for small, medium businesses to thrive.
Yes.
You know, those are the things we need to focus on and strengthen our own education.
Yeah.
Educational system has to improve as to speak to what is needed in our own economy.
Yes.
And we need to gravitate more and faster towards ensuring that our own people understand that they need not to rely on government for them to survive.
Yeah.
They've got to make or create jobs for themselves. You know, sometimes it's embarrassing for somebody. She mentioned it here, as if it's the fault of government and so on.
Yeah,
A person who has got honors or masters and all of that,
okay,
that person can't even do something.
Yeah.
You know, I will be critical to somebody who tells me that I've got a master's, because a master's, you are at a level where you have identified a problem and you are trying to solve it.
Yes.
In terms of your own thesis that you are writing.
Yeah.
That can be the basis upon which you are going to create jobs. You can create employment through that particular problem you're solving.
Yeah.
Because business exists to solve certain problems.
Yeah.
So if we have got graduates who proudly tell us in the pubs that they've got master's degree,
yes,
yet they cannot create the little things for themselves, and they're unemployed, and what they can do is to go to Twitter and TikTok and lament the state of affairs in this country. Yet they are not assisting the government that has assisted them to acquire that particular education. Then we have got a problem. We need to question the education system that we're feeding our own kids.
Yes.
So I agree with her that we cannot continue to create nanny state.
Yeah.
However, there is some semblance of responsibility that we need to take as citizens of this country. This thing of always sitting in little corners and complaining about government, I can tell you, you can remove the African National Congress. By the way, she's a politician, this one. I'm addressing her as a politician. You know why I'm saying she's a politician?
Yeah.
How did she arrive at a point where she says EFF must never be voted for? You know why I choose EFF?
Yes.
Is because EFF has never been in government. For us, we can say maybe she says we did not fare well in government when we were governing. But what about EFF? This is a self-hating black person who has been educated in the classrooms of Verwoerd's grandchildren.
Yes.
They have told her that anything black is not gonna work for you.
Okay.
You have got to go to your action essay, which are being Bluetoothed in terms of doing whatever they are doing in this country.
Yeah.
And then you have got to go to the Democratic Alliance, which is failing the people of Gugulethu. She cannot even mention that.
Yeah.
Right now, the people of Tshwane, yourself, look no further than Strachan, where you come from. So the people that she says we need to vote for cannot even do the simplest of the simple things, removing a rubbish or a refuse here. So this one is a politician. When I was listening to her, the moment she said we need not to vote for ANC, EFF, and she said another one, I can't remember.
She said Action SA.
Action SA.
No. She said
to be
Patriotic
voted
Alliance. Yes, Patriotic Alliance.
Patriotic Alliance. You know why?
Yeah.
All these parties that she has mentioned to say must be ruled out is because somehow they converge in terms of wanting the best out of this government to do for black people.
Yeah.
And she's self-18, but I could already detect that through her own accent.
Yeah.
She has been baptized into environments that are anti-black people.
Yeah.
So I understand where she comes from. She's a victim and we need to tolerate her.
Okay.
But she had spoken about this thing of creating any state, and I agree with that.
Yes.
And the other point she has mentioned, which President Ramaphosa spoke up, I spoke of this one of employment, right?
Yes.
I spoke about it. And there is this one of HIV.
HIV, yes.
My brother, I can tell you now. She says instead the African National Congress must focus on preventative measures. I can tell you every toilet, everywhere you go, public spaces, you can find condoms. What are condoms for?
Okay.
Is to prevent, right?
Yeah.
Those condoms are for that, and we are just giving people for free. Do we sell them? We don't.
No.
So
yes.
now she's disingenuous and economical with the truth simply because she's a victim of the narrative that is being pushed. She jumped into the bandwagon, and we really forgive her for being this naive as to see that we do not get good coverage from the media, which is hostile towards us. So she's not factually correct and accurate in her own analysis of where we came from as a country.
Yeah.
And also the creation of jobs, my brother. This country has got the highest cash liquidity, which a white man is sitting on without reinvesting in the economy. The industrialization is not happening simply because a white man is sabotaging a black-led government.
Yeah.
Those are the factors we need to take into account. I can give you an example of what I have spoken about some other time when we had an interview.
Yeah.
When you go to government as a small, medium business to business banking sector, you want a loan in order to augment your own financial position. They will never be amenable to giving you that money.
Yeah, obviously.
They will give you a whole lot of stories. So now who is actually sabotaging this government from creating jobs?
Yeah.
This private sector has got an agenda. That's why you can't have a lot of cash in your bank or in your mattress and you don't create jobs.
Yeah.
So these people are not creating jobs, but they've got all the monies, which they stole, by the way.
Yeah.
This is what angers some of our own opposition parties. I can't mention their names because I'm not here for them.
Okay.
But all I can tell you is that the private sector is not innocent in sabotaging the ANC-led government, and she is actually a product of the private sector herself. Look at the schools of these so-called white people, how much they are paying per annum in order to exclude our own black people, because they've got all the money, they've equipped those schools, they've got proper equipment in order to produce learners that are well educated and are well versed with what is happening in the economy. They are excluding us because they know our background. Now, let me tell you, Desmond Tutu in TRC recommendations, he recommended a higher corporate tax so that we can tax the rich even more. In order to help the poor, because these corporates and their friends were at the center and in the forefront of perpetuating atrocities visited upon our own people by apartheid government.
Yeah.
They had to come with some form of reparation. He got a backlash from these white fellows. Because, yes, Desmond Tutu. When he was saying those things, he suddenly became an enemy. They like you when you do not talk about sharing the wealth of this country.
Obviously, yes.
Once you begin touching the nerve, they will even reveal the things you have done in 1910.
Yeah.
I can tell you. So even Nelson Mandela could not do it because they were going to a smear campaign, embark on a smear campaign, and tarnish and sully his name. This is their modus operandi.
Yeah.
And they know very well that people, patience will wear off.
Yeah.
And then as a result of that, they will now pass a motion of no confidence in the liberation movement, the African National Congress.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, but this National Congress has been in power for quite some time and we are suffering. They're not creating jobs. Yet they are the ones who are excluding us. So we need to take a very deliberate decision to say this private sector must be visited and it must play its own role here.
Okay.
Even this thing of closing companies, it's not an innocent act.
Obviously, sabotage.
It's sabotage. They know very well that there will be social unrest as and when people who are unemployed are increasing. And it's a good campaigning tool for Steniers and who's without matric, but they cannot say that, but they will say it to Jacob Zuma.
Yeah.
This is how selective these people are.
Yeah.
And these people will never love us.
Yeah.
We have got to keep that in mind. Even this lady who was speaking here, they don't love her.
This one,
they're just using her.
Yeah.
She is a tool in their own hands.
Yes.
To actually perpetuate the narrative that seeks to undermine black leadership because it is said by her, but some of us, we know she's a white person trapped in black skin. That's why we do not listen to her. Yeah, no, even this one.
Yeah, somebody was saying the president of COVID told us we must dance Jerusalem, right? Now he's talking about Mapiano. Like the lady spoken about Mapiano, and she's right about the vulgar lyrics.
Okay.
Like Okubeba, we know what that means.
Okay.
And and I've heard my son. I've heard my son. He's 4 singing that shit. I'm like, hey, keep quiet.
Outside of that, I would say she's too naive. Actually, she needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
What the president has said, in fact, I never thought he would say something like that. It's very intelligent what he has said.
Yes.
Because you must understand, my brother, for South Africa to be known so that we can attract even investment, we have got to have something that is appealing, not only in South Africa, but even outside of South Africa.
Yeah.
When Mapiano becomes a global genre, so it means many people will know Amapiano. And you will know South Africa and would want to be curious as to understand what is this South Africa all about.
Yes.
When they come here, our tourism gains a lot from that.
Yeah.
So I had expected somebody who comes from a Model C school to understand tourism.
Yes, yes.
So now she seemed to me to be somebody who doesn't understand that this thing has got some spin-offs.
Yeah.
There may not be direct benefits that you're getting or drawing from that.
Yeah.
But those are the spin-offs. They are coming because of your country is placed on the global stage.
Okay.
And the other thing, my brother, you cannot be a nation that is so dull. When I was growing up, we used to say this thing, all work, no play makes a John
a very dull boy.
Dull boy.
Yeah.
So you cannot have such. We can't always be serious. You must understand psychologically. I would have understood to know these things because he comes from this Model C schools.
Yeah.
That when people are dancing, their own body, the healthiness really gets reignited. They exercise, they forget quite a lot of things. We can't be a sad nation. So I do not agree with her. I think she's narrow, she's shallow, and understandably so because she was coached to undermine everything black.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right. Firebrand. Yeah, get Firebrand in the studio today, guys. 064-548-776. Rafeta Skali. 19 minutes past 9:30, we are out of here. Yeah, it has been very interesting, eh? That's how I know you, Bafanas. You must never stop that. Was a contested youth league presidency. When said this boy, I think
But
Aye, man.
Colin Malach.
Yeah, wasn't it about
No,
that?
I know. You know, politics are something else. We'll talk offline.
Yeah, no, fair. No, fair. Now we'll say take him out, man. Aye. What's why you hate him to try to become Tomungwana Costa?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yes.
Do not try to
Be
become
yourself.
like Julius Malema.
Yes.
You are not gonna win.
Yes.
He had his own style of doing things
Yes.
and reasons why he's doing
Correct.
that. When we can put Julius in a sense that he was more connected to a lot of leadership ANC more than this boy,
Yeah.
right? So that's why he got away with a lot of things. Killing for Zuma, killing for Zuma, and all that,
Yeah.
and he just got away with that. Malaji unala connection le mang sa matom. Gore ha bua gore ba ai ya ba reng off air, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, hey, Mr. Ramokgopa, we've covered a lot, my Brian, and yeah, last words to your South Africans. Happy no remote campaigning, me, but remote campaign trail, like you remember.
Yeah, you see, maybe first and foremost, I need to remind them that we are 112 years
Yeah.
as the African National Congress, and I would like to say happy birthday. We are the oldest liberation movement in Africa.
Yes.
The last to attain democracy, yet the best to have performed in government.
Yes.
So we are not just a mere organization, we are very big. And we are saying to South Africans, they need to understand that when we came into power, we didn't find everything hunky-dory. There were a lot of challenges and we needed to resolve so many issues. Some of them were complex and some were with resistance from those who used to enjoy state apparatus where they were milking everything that was in this country.
Yeah.
And now they must be careful of the media, which is trying to paint an African National Congress, which is the face of corruption. We are not the face of corruption. That's where we have established even commission of inquiry to actually interrogate the issues that were brought before us so that we can clean our own governance.
Yeah.
All of this we are doing because we know historically when we were founded to actually liberate our own people from the bondage of apartheid colonial structures.
All right.
And we still on course. We want to bring a better life forward to you, and we are requesting you to give us a second, another chance in government so that we can do even more better than what we have done. We need a renewed mandate as we go to 2024 elections.
More 30 years, eh?
Even 60 years or
Even until
70 years.
Until Jesus has come back.
Because I can't see who can replace us. That's why she's even mumbling when she comes to whoever we need to
replace. I reckon there's other black parties
for.
there. I mean, ACDP, but
there is absolutely no board, because you must understand we do not exist as a political party. We are a liberation movement with a blueprint that we are following in order to change the lives of our people, own people. This ones, if you listen to them, they are saying we are a united front, but the only agenda is to remove the ANC. They are not providing an alternative.
Yeah.
So you can imagine you are voting for somebody who says my agenda is to remove so and so, but they do not bring to you a valid proposition to say this is what I'm going to do to change your life. Then myself, I share that to take that decision. I will never do that, and I encourage our own people not to do that.
Okay. Speaking of the media, we had NN7 here in this country. I love that channel personally myself, and I was never the person of the news, brother. When NN7 came into the picture, I was watching that channel every day. Like, I would sit like this, Shabby Lady News the whole day. Because of the analysis. Where you see fresh new people analyzing stuff. You know, and the ANC let it go. Why?
You see...
When it was the only station that actually spoke for the ANC, because we could see a lot of coverage of ANC events, which ENCA will never do, which SABC repatriation license will never do. But this one, really, it was going in. That newspaper,
oh, this one, New Age.
Yeah, it was in the hospitals, and it was covering most of the ANC things and most of the ANC events. It was free for everyone, but it's gone. Like, it's gone. What happened?
Because you see, it is a sad state of affairs. I would not have allowed ANN7 to leave.
To close,
Because, as you say, even myself, I liked it. I liked it because it was providing us with a different narrative.
Yes.
We were shown certain things in ENCA and other channels, but they themselves were showing us even the work that is being done by the African National Congress-led government.
Yeah.
So you want a tool such as that one. That was an instrument in the hand of the African National Congress insofar as the news distribution and transmission is concerned.
Yeah.
I would say the African National Congress must take that deliberate decision to bring something similar so that a narrative that is being perpetuated or propagated by these other ones who are militating against us can be countered. Countered in the public domain so that people can see the other side. So I agree with you on that one. I would not have let it go.
If it was up to me, that station was nice. It was the best. I remember the first broadcast. Those people were just fresh from college, right? Which I like. You understand? Putting someone who's seasoned comes with a baggage. He's now a celebrity. He can do everything. I remember the first broadcast. News. They stood and they were so professional. I'm like, wow. Tomorrow, it was like, hey, Bona, what did somebody group that Bona fella?
It was
became
a good thing.
best.
It was a good thing because those people had to be introduced into the stage. Today won't be like tomorrow and the other day. They were gaining experience. And they were ensuring that there is diversity in terms of who speaks to us as the so-called analyst. We need that diversity. Different thoughts. We cannot be bombarded with your Duvenach that you have spoken about and others.
Yes.
Every day you see the same faces. So it means you do not want new entrants into that particular
I was going to come to that. Can you imagine? Stephen Khutese Oko SABC Oko SAFM in the morning. Stephen Waliburu. Oko SAFM in the morning from 6 to 9, right? Ha Oko later to the Monaco ENCA or SABC. SABC, I think. He's there. Faith Mangope onaloko Power FM from 12 to 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And later on, you'll find her go SABC as or ENCA. Manyatela Clemente oko 7:02 in the morning. Between 12 and 3, I believe, Lian. And then from there, he's in SABC or ENCA. I'm like, don't you have kids that have gone and done communication?
And they need exposure.
You understand? AN7 had all new faces. They were analysts. We knew him from there. And now he's more powerful. I'm like, wow.
I knew him before. He was anti-President Mbeki. I know him from
way
long
back.
Time ago.
Yeah, but then we now bombarded with the same people. We thought, actually, News in Africa will come something different, but it's still the same thing.
Still the same thing. They're bringing us the same thing. So those things, they need leadership that is deliberate. A leadership that will analyze everything. Sometimes we do not utilize the sharpest minds within our ranks in the ANC. ANC, sometimes we are elevating people who do not have vision. At times, some do not even have consciousness itself to understand that we are a liberation movement. We have got to bring about change. We are removing the social order of then and replace it with a new one that reflects the demographics of this country. You have got to have some semblance of consciousness to understand that that is your task at end. So sometimes, because we are infiltrated, my brother, the things that I cannot say here.
Just to add on that, SABC, when he came 9% South African. That's when Sampra, which you are paying in this station every year, and Sambro and the rest of all these things really now paid people back their money. Remember, he introduced that channel with all the old stories, Encore, a whole new Encore channel. That those old actors who are now paupers actually got royalties for being shown again on TV by the ANC. I mean the SABC. Why did you have to let them go?
Yeah.
The pressure from what? From DA? Because my money went there and protested, and Claudia was taken out. Public protector, Madonsela came in there and qualified. We put the change, and we just let them go.
You see, those are the things that some of us, when we think about them, our hearts are bleeding.
Yeah.
Because we could see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is that even though there were weaknesses in how they conducted themselves, but they were on the right track.
Yeah.
They needed to be polished here and there.
Yes.
But I can tell you, when you reintroduce those things that you are talking about of people of then, and then reintroduced, and then they're getting a livelihood out of their own work.
Yes.
Their sweat, by the way.
Exactly.
You are actually empowering your own people. You're
Yeah.
not forgetting
Yeah.
them. And when you say South African music must be played
In all radio
abundance,
station,
in all radio
SABC,
station,
by the way.
I can't see that as a problem. I
Yeah.
can't fault that.
Yeah.
Because you are actually saying the money of South Africa must circulate within
Around
the
ourselves.
boundaries of
Exactly.
South Africa.
Yeah.
And gets reinvested here. So it's a simple economics.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes and say we can all those things,
Yeah.
then I will have to be suspicious. Why are
why?
you doing that?
Yes.
So those are the issues that we need to confront as South Africans, and also the African National Congress. We need to do that as if we call ourselves leader of society. You can't lead the society that you do not promote their own economic empowerment.
Why
we
not?
need to empower them.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's okay. I wish you had more time, before. I wish you had more time, but that is our show for today. Baichu. Thank you so very much for tuning in. All those who have tuned in, Brasku, if you're online, I've seen the statistics now. There were a lot of people listening to you live. Costa Ramokgopa, you're celebrating fun. Like, you must come and beg me and kiss my feet. Or this boy is celebrating more Pretoria West. This is Costa FM coming to you live, man. Live on radio, not live or body tweet and whatnot, but you're gonna do that. We're working on that, and then you will be able to say check us live. A little bit live, really busy, but that was today's topic. Program of in the political discussion. Yeah, Monday. As you always have Monday political discussions. Thank you so very much for coming in, ladies and gentlemen, and taking your time and your data to listen to us. This podcast, the audio one, will be, as I said, on Spotify and Anchor FM. Spotify and Anchor FM, that's when the audio will be tonight. So just go to Spotify, Anchor FM, and search the Hostess on a live show, and you will find us there. And then we'll just listen, rewind, follow us, download, share. It's yours for free. And then for video podcast for YouTube, I'll be dropping this one tomorrow. Probably I've got 2 videos I need to upload already. The third is this one, so it's a lot. But we're gonna be doing it tomorrow as well. So just go to Spotify, YouTube, and say, "Cause on a live show, you want me," and you'll find me there. All right. So like I said, it's the end. The time, 33 minutes after 9. Mebra, thank you so very much, Mr. Rmaphosa, for coming to see us today.
Thank you.
And then, why is you Mebra? I can have that, and you come and you do your thing. So, Bahaichu, have a very good night. We love you so much in Kosi FM, and we appreciate you so much, and we thank you so much. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, subscribe to our podcast to go Spotify, and then let's make this program and this channel and this podcast to be the biggest as it ever is. Thank you so much. I love you. Peace. Bye.
Send us away,